I would like to begin by telling the court about my mom.
Right now at 5, a woman who killed her mother during a mental health emergency is sentenced. Her devastating statement before the court.
Plus, a closer look at the local impact of the federal government shutdown. How many people in Dane County could be without federal food assistance in less than 48 hours?
And a new rehab facility comes to Dane County. What services it will provide and when it is scheduled to open. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Thanks for staying with us at 5, everyone. We begin with an update on the case of a woman who killed her mother earlier this year during a mental health crisis.
And today, a judge ordered 31-year-old Sierra Schoonover to spend the rest of her life in a mental health facility. It was April of this year. Schoonover killed her mother, Heather, in Blue Mounds. Court documents suggest Schoonover was off her medicine at the time and had believed that people in her life were replaced and not real. Ultimately, the prosecution and judge agreed with the defense that while Schoonover killed her mother, she wasn't mentally competent enough at the time to understand what she was doing. And today in court, we heard from Schoonover, who asked to make a statement about her mother.
When my dad was fighting cancer for 4 years, I watched my mom overcome any discomfort she had with providing medical care to be able to help him up until the end of his life. I know there are so many people who love and miss her, and I'm so sorry that any of this happened.
Now, in time, Schoonover will be able to petition for conditional release, but that would require the approval of a judge.
The man charged with killing a woman in Lake Delton on the 4th of July pleads not guilty. 23-year-old Brandon Bent is charged with first-degree intentional homicide with a dangerous weapon and domestic abuse, two misdemeanors. Prosecutors say he killed the woman at a home on Canyon Road. At his arraignment today, the state refused to modify Bent's $11 million bond. His next court date isn't until next year. Now, as a reminder, if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic abuse, call the Domestic Abuse Intervention Services Helpline. It's open 24/7.
Turning now to weather, an important forecast. Meteorologist Blaze Keller with the outlook for those trick-or-treaters.
No pressure, Blaze.
I was going to say,
don't mess it up. There's a lot of candy on the line here.
All right. Well, we are looking at the chance for some light rain, not a washout, and we're not tracking any snow like previous years, but you may want to take the First Warned Weather app with you and track out that chance for showers. But I think a lot of it ends as we're beginning to wrap up trick-or-treating. This is at 8 p.m. on Friday. A lot more of that rain is beginning to move out of central Wisconsin into parts of southern Wisconsin. Certainly closer to the Illinois border, you're going to likely remain dry through at least the morning hours on Saturday, which is also when we'll continue to see this rain make its way out of the area. At times overnight Friday into Saturday, we could see some snowflakes mixing in with some of those raindrops, but rain and possible snow accumulations will be light. So we're looking at the upper 40s to low 50s when we're trick-or-treating, mostly cloudy. Again, a light mix shower cannot be ruled out, but I think maybe just a light rain jacket. You don't have to wear it, maybe just keep it because these showers will be hit or miss, possibly an umbrella as well, just for when the shower's over you. You can pop up that umbrella and then put it away once the shower passes. A quick look at Dodgeville on our Upland Hill sky cam. It's 55 degrees. Those clouds beginning to move on in. What lies ahead for the first few days of November in the full forecast?
Well, that's a pretty sky in Dodgeville. Blaze, thank you. Right now, hundreds of thousands of Wisconsinites are getting ready for federal food assistance to stop. The Trump administration says the government shutdown is preventing the program from operating in November. And in response, more than 24 states, including Wisconsin, are challenging the administration. This morning, we spoke with Attorney General Josh Kaul about the argument that he's making.
There are funds that are available to continue funding SNAP benefits, billions of dollars that can be used. And never before during government shutdown has the federal government discontinued SNAP funding.
A judge heard that argument, and the Trump administration's earlier today were waiting for her to make a decision.
And that food assistance deadline will be here soon. November will be here in a little over 30 hours.
Arman Rahman is here to break down the impact that delaying these benefits could have on families across our state. Arman?
That's right, Susan and Eric. 700,000 people in Wisconsin rely on food share. The program SNAP is distributed under here in the state to feed themselves and their families. Now, what does that look like in our neck of the woods? Well, roughly 64,000 people in Dane County rely on SNAP to put food on the table. That's on top of an increased demand and cost of food for pantries like St. Vincent de Paul. Staff tell me they buy most of the food they give out, and even though they should stay afloat for a little bit after SNAP pauses, it won't be long before they'll need the support that it offered again.
Food pantries and SNAP are intended to work together to combat food insecurity. According to Feeding America, for every one meal that is provided by food pantries, the SNAP program provides 9 meals. That is too large of a gap for the charitable sector to replace.
St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry sees about 3,000 families a month, and that lawsuit that you guys were talking about earlier that Attorney General Josh Cole will be joining, and also Governor Tony Evers pushing the president to use these funds that the USDA has control over. They're earmarked specifically for cases like this, is about $6 billion. They're called contingency funds, and that's what everyone in the country right now is hoping the president will tap into to extend food share for at least a month longer.
Really, the deadline's coming fast. We're 30 hours now from the start of November, so a story we'll continue to follow closely. Armand, thank you. Now, for people out there who won't receive those benefits starting on Saturday, there are some things you should know. For one, benefits already on your card, those will not be removed because of the shutdown. That means any money from October that is on your Quest card will carry over to November. Experts say you should try using that money for shelf-stable food, frozen meats, and things that can be purchased in bulk. If that is not enough and you need to find resources in your area, call 211, and that number should direct you to food assistance near you. And locally, Ollie's Madison is offering a pay-what-you-can service Tuesday through Thursday on select items for people who are losing out on those benefits.
We'll continue to follow the food share funding stoppage closely, including whether a judge will side with the states or the Trump administration over it right here on News 3 Now. You can receive updates directly to your phone with the free mobile app.
Next at 5, 2 men are facing charges after police say they got in a fight on State Street early this morning. It was just before 2 o'clock. Officers responded to the area of State at West Gorham, not far from the Museum of Contemporary Art. Now, police say officers separated the 2 men. One of them, though, tried to keep fighting the other and grabbed an officer in the process. Both men were eventually arrested, taken to jail, and they're now facing charges of disorderly conduct and resisting officers.
A new rehabilitation hospital is coming to Fitchburg. Meritor and LifePoint Rehabilitation broke ground on the hospital earlier today. This will be the second freestanding inpatient rehab hospital in the greater Madison area. The 58,000 square foot facility is located on Green Market Place. That's at Lacey Road and Highway 14. The hospital will provide intensive nursing and adult physical, occupational, and speech pathology. And that's something community leaders say is badly needed as Dane County's population continues to grow.
This new rehabilitation hospital will bring high-quality, patient-centered services closer to home for families in Fitchburg, the greater Madison area, and our surrounding counties.
The facility will be open once construction is completed in 2027.
Pediatricians say now is the time for you and your children to get your flu vaccine. Last winter, the U.S. had its most flu-related child deaths in 15 years. More than 200 deaths nationwide in the pediatric population. It's according to the CDC in the 2024-25 flu season. Doctors say November is when cases typically ramp up.
And as of October 16th, only 12.4% of us have gotten our seasonal flu shots in Wisconsin. In Dane County, some 20% of people are vaccinated. You can find a pharmacy near you offering the vaccines at vaccines.gov.
And Blaze returns next with that trick-or-treat forecast and then a look into the beginning of November as well.
And they're playing well right now, but how Jordan Love and the Packers say they can always be better. Jason Wilde reports from Lambeau Field.
And we'll get you those times for when your trick-or-treaters can get out in your neighborhood throughout the greater Madison area.
And later, whether a meeting between President Trump and his Chinese counterpart resulted in any kind of a deal about tariffs.
On Wall Street, the red numbers show up across the board. Dow Jones falling 110 points and NASDAQ tumbles more than 377 points. S&P loses 68 1/4. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back. Packers still feeling pretty good about themselves. Back home over the big win in Pittsburgh over Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Now with Carolina on their minds.
But as well as they've played, there's always room for improvement. Our Packers senior writer Jason Wilde has more from Lambeau Field.
The Packers offense sure seems to be clicking right now, right? Jordan Love is the reigning offensive player of the week in the NFC. He threw for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. The running game, while it has struggled at times, Josh Jacobs has been productive at other times. And yet Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love are concerned about the 3 3-and-out possessions they had last Sunday night in Pittsburgh. They need to have more consistency, and that's what the coach and the quarterback are both focused on.
It's very annoying. No, it's frustrating, and it's frustrating when there's opportunities there and you don't convert. And so, but third down, there's a reason that most teams, every team in the league right now is under 50%. So it's less than a 50% chance you're going to convert. And it's just in those third and manageable situations, you got to come through.
We'll see if they can achieve that consistency against an inconsistent, see what I did there, Carolina Panthers team, which has been very good defensively in the 4 games they've won, not so good in the 4 games they've lost. We'll have full coverage of that game and everything Packers on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
We saw what you did there, Jason. Well done. Meteorologist Blaze Keller back with a more detailed look at your first warn forecast as the little ghosts and goblins get ready for their big night tomorrow, Blaze.
Yes, spookiest day of the year right around the corner, and we're not forecasting any snow or anything scary like that to some folks, but we are forecasting maybe a light rain snow mix. It's that time of year where, especially if these rain showers continue overnight and temperatures obviously are starting to get cooler, we may see a light mix develop, but we're not anticipating much in the way of not only snow accumulation, but rain accumulation over the next probably week to week and a half. In the meantime, upper 40s to low 50s. We'll talk about the rain chances in just a moment, but we're looking at upper 40s to low 50s on Friday, Halloween. So pretty much where we should be for this time of year. Probably going to be hanging out in these temperatures as we are beginning to trick or treat. We'll maybe slip into more of those mid to upper 40s by the time it's wrapping up. Again, we can't rule out a light rain-snow mix, especially overnight into the start of Saturday, as temperatures eventually will settle into those mid to upper 30s overnight going into the start of November. A low-pressure system is going to essentially dissolve and be absorbed by a bigger low to our east as we go into Halloween. Most of that rain activity is going to stay off to the north through the day, but as we head into the evening and overnight into, for sure, the start of Saturday, we're going to have that chance for some light rain and maybe a few snowflakes. High pressure right around the corner, and that's going to help clear out the cloud cover and the rain as we go into next week, but will likely stay cloudy overnight Saturday into Sunday with a few peaks of sunshine. But unlike Saturday, Sunday is going to be breezy. So if you're heading up to Lambeau, you're going to be dealing with some breezy southwesterly winds, could be gusting upwards of 20 to 30 miles per hour. We're sandwiched between a strong low and an equally strong high, and that change in pressure is happening right over us, causing those breezy winds on Sunday. I've taken Future Track out not only past this Sunday, but to the following Sunday. So we're like 2 weeks out on Future Track here, and we're not seeing much in the way of rain. And this is very, very unfortunate. The ground can still absorb a lot of water. Drought conditions have expanded across Wisconsin. 70% of the state is under abnormally dry conditions. About less than 20%, but we're closing in, is underneath moderate drought conditions, and parts of Lafayette and Greene counties make up the 0.5% underneath now severe drought conditions. Why are we not going to be seeing any rain over the next couple of weeks? Because high pressure is going to continue to essentially sit in this general area. One after another is going to be moving on in and keeping a lot of that moisture either off to our northwest into parts of Canada or off to our east. We're getting into the point of the year as well where these high pressure systems are just going to get stronger and stronger. They feed on the cold air. So we're kind of getting to this point where we're saying goodbye to heavy rain. We're saying hello to these strong highs. we really could use the rain, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that the rain chances that we do have over the next 7 to 10 days really do amount to something. But the little amount of rain that we have now is just going to mean we're going to rely more on our snow for the winter, for next spring. In the meantime, it's not all bad news. Again, we aren't tracking any snow on Halloween, which is a far cry from a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
2019 wasn't it?
2019, 4 inches,
never
right?
forget it.
So it could always be worse, but we are looking at the mid-50s starting Monday and possibly the 60s by next Wednesday.
Boy, that's a mild start to
Yeah,
November.
It is, yeah. Crazy that we're nearing the end of the year.
Yep.
Goes
Wow.
fast.
Yes.
Blaze,
All right,
thank
Blaze,
you.
Thank you. Well, Girl Scouts and business leaders from around the area got together at Madison's Edgewater today. The Girl Scouts of Badgerland hosted their first Leading with Legacy luncheon. This year's theme highlighted keynote speaker Jen Holleran's research, The State of the Wisconsin Girl Report. It focused on how stressors like mental health affect a girl's experiences.
Being a Girl Scout means I not only have the opportunity to learn how to be a leader and to lead others, but also to feel empowered to do new things.
Girl Scouts of America is known for giving girls an outlet to learn and explore new things while also giving them resources to protect their well-being.
Up next at 5, we'll see the damage done to one Jamaican town by the hurricane that officials are calling Ground Zero. How many people there are now living without a roof over their heads?
And the U.S. and China meet to talk tariffs, why the outcome could bring some relief to Wisconsin farmers.
They did a nice job. Well, now to global headlines at this hour. After meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, President Trump says China will resume buying our soybeans, 25 million metric tons per year. It's a big relief to Wisconsin farmers who have struggled during a pause in soybean exports to China. It's part of a bigger tentative deal between the countries, which includes a promise from the U.S. to cut tariffs on Chinese goods. In exchange, China will work to reduce the flow of illegal fentanyl. The president says the two countries could sign the deal soon.
We have a deal. Now, every year we'll renegotiate the deal, but I think the deal will go on for a long time.
The president says he will go to China for more trade talks next year.
As Hurricane Melissa heads to Bermuda now, people in Jamaica are just beginning the recovery process. Josh Allen is in Montego Bay with a look at the damage and what comes next.
On the muddy streets of Montego Bay, a man takes a rest from cleaning up Hurricane Melissa's destruction. 2 days after the storm made landfall on the island, thousands are still without power and working to figure out next steps.
I just want to get things come back to normal.
Jamaica's prime minister says Melissa's winds tore the roofs off 90% of homes in the town of Black River, calling it Ground Zero. On this drive to Montego Bay, the trees keep grabbing our attention. The winds up here in the tops of the mountains just shredded all the leaves off of them. Even some of the palm trees are just a trunk now. Schools have been destroyed. Homes and businesses turned into rubble. Still, the focus for many is on moving forward.
I think the entire Jamaica is really broken because of what has happened. But we remain resilient. We are working to get to those who need as much assistance as possible.
Jamaica's international airports are resuming operations, allowing relief organizations like Global Empowerment Mission to fly in supplies.
Immediate need is always going to be basic living necessities. That's why we have those family boxes. It has food for a week and water. You know, we have 10,000 tarps ordered, and there's probably 50,000 or more roofs that are damaged. Everybody's going to need a generator to be able to survive.
Residents in eastern Cuba are also facing a massive recovery effort. And in Haiti, catastrophic flooding in one town is blamed for at least 20 deaths. This man says he lost 4 children, ages 8, 7, 3, and the youngest just a month old. Jason Allen, CBS News, Montego Bay, Jamaica.
And French police say 5 more suspects are in custody related to the robbery of priceless jewels from the Louvre. That brings the total number of arrested suspects to 7. 2 have been charged, identified through their DNA. both in their 30s. One arrested just before flying to Algeria. So far, there's still no sign of what was taken.
Well, good news for people looking to buy a home. U.S. mortgage rates fell for the 4th time in 4 weeks to the lowest they've been since 2022. Freddie Mac says the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is currently 6.17%. The decline comes a day after the Fed decided to cut its benchmark interest rate a 1/4 point, but Fed Chair Jerome Powell said an additional cut is not certain in December. Analysts say that comment may cause mortgage rates to rise next month.
Stay with us for a final check of your First Warn forecast after a short break.
It may be a night off for the World Series, but not for baseball. Tonight, we put the spotlight on the minor leagues and meet the real MVB, the most valuable bat boy. And tomorrow is Halloween, and tonight we visit hallowed ground to show you how cemeteries are becoming a place for the living. Tonight's Eye in America, just ahead on the CBS Evening News.
And then coming up at 6, Tanasia Shaw will show us some of the resources available locally for people who won't get SNAP benefits starting this weekend unless the government shutdown ends. And Blaze is here with a final check of our forecast. Looking forward to Halloween tomorrow.
That's right, yeah. Halloween is right around the corner, and conditions are looking to be mostly cloudy, maybe some light rain there, and those clouds are going to start to move in tonight. If you're going to be going out and about, maybe getting the last candies for trick-or-treaters.
Here are the trick-or-treat times, by the way. Sorry, I blew through that.
No.
Susan doesn't like candy.
I want to get right to the candy.
Here are the hours varying across our areas. These are just a few of the municipalities. In Middleton, it's 5 to 7, Monona 5 to 8, along with Verona, and also 5 to 7 in Waunakee. Now, if your community is not up there and you want to see the full list of all those trick-or-treat times throughout southern Wisconsin, we have a complete list at channel3000.com. You handing out candy at your house, Susan? Is that you trying to keep them from coming? Or
And if you need to still get some candy tonight, conditions are going to be quiet. We are looking at mostly cloudy conditions to partly cloudy conditions with temperatures eventually settling into the 40s. Finally, after midnight, we'll settle more or less into those mid to upper 30s. There's a look at the 10-day forecast. We are back into the mid-50s with sunnier conditions to start off the first full week in November.
CBS Evening News is next. You can always find us streaming 24/7 at Channel 3000+.